Welcome to Lucent Talks. Today we will be talking about buying and selling houses.
My name's Cricket Lee. I'm with Coldwell Banker in the Sherman Oaks office in Southern California. I started as an investor actually in 2003, so at the beginning of the last bubble. And I invested and I said, oh, I would never be an agent, but I was very interested in it. I was very passionate about it. So I went ahead and got my broker's license just for fun, just for more knowledge. Still never intending to be an agent. But in 2007, the market changed. And I read an article saying that realtors were not able to make any sales because prices were way too high and just nothing was happening. So I thought, maybe this is a good time to get into the market. So I actually started being a realtor right at the very, very top of the market when foreclosures were already starting. And fortunately, I said, I think I want to start as an assistant to really get some good experience before I go out on my own. I ended up with a foreclosure agent, and we ended up being very busy through the 2008, 2010 crash, like the whole debacle. I was there, so I know foreclosures backwards and forwards. Did the short sale thing, the short sale thing backwards and forwards. And so I've been fortunate to basically, since that foreclosure period, be in this beautiful bull market that we've been in ever since. So are we close to the market, top of the market? Probably again, but with all this stuff that the Fed is doing, maybe it will never come. We never know if a crash is coming anymore. You wouldn't know it by how good the market is now.
What are the 5 things to consider when buying a house?
So I was thinking there's so many things that you have to consider when you buy a house. You have to consider, school district, commute, size, bedroom count, all that sort of stuff. I thought it might be more interesting to talk about like the 5 things that buyers are worried about, if that makes sense. So, because they worry about certain things. And one thing that they're often worried about is like down payment. That's like their number one thing. I don't have enough down payment. But the first thing I want people to know is that there are great programs out there now where you can get a loan for as little as 5% down. There's even ones at 3.5% down, but they're very expensive. So usually people try to put at least 5% down, but you don't have to put 20% down. Another thing that they often worry about is getting stuck with a house that they don't want. Like they're afraid they're going to buy something and they're going to find, they put that contract in, it gets accepted, and they get really worried that that they're going to get stuck with it. But I want to assure you that contractually, at least here in California, in the Los Angeles area, you're never stuck. You have all these things called contingency periods that allow you to back out if you change your mind. You'll also have a chance to completely and thoroughly inspect the property as well. You'll never just be stuck buying something unless you do an as-is sale, but that's very unusual these days, especially for first-time home buyers and that kind of stuff. I also wanted to mention, I guess like a third thing that people are often worried about is like losing their deposit, which is, kind of tied into the being stuck with a certain house. But again, there's a lot of legal protections in there. So you don't have to worry about losing your deposit. A competent agent should make sure that you always buy the house that you want and that you're not going to be stuck. You're going to have your deposit at risk at any time. Your deposit only becomes at risk when you 100% say, I want to buy this thing. And then for some reason you just go, you know what? I found a house I like better. And you decide to do that. Sometimes the sellers won't forgive you for that, but most other reasons you'll get your deposit back. So that's like a third thing that people worry about. A huge thing that people worry about is, am I buying at the wrong time? Especially right now. It's like August 2020 as we're speaking right now, and the market is very high for whatever reason. We're in the middle of a pandemic, but the market's extremely high. So people think, oh, should I wait a little bit? Should I not wait a little bit? Market timing is hard. It's the same with the stock market. You think, oh, I'm going to wait for it to go down. And then, 5 years later, it still hasn't gone down. And you wish you had bought 5 years previously. Real estate, at least in the Southern California region, is definitely like that. If you can afford your house properly, it doesn't matter whether the price goes up or down. You would have still paid rent or something somewhere else. So you never have to worry, if that makes sense. Did I buy at exactly the right time? There are some people that made a lot of money by market timing, but honestly, they didn't plan on buying at that time, if that makes sense. They just lucked out. Their timing was very good. They didn't know it at the time, if that makes sense.
Right.
That's number 4. Number 5, a lot of times people feel like maybe they made the wrong decision. So they get buyer's remorse. Like, did I buy the right house? Oh, I don't know. The thing is that's a very common feeling because you've spent so much money, at least you feel like you did. So if you buy, let's say, a $300,000 house, you're like, oh, I spent $300,000. But if you think about it, you didn't really spend $300,000. You did the down payment, which if it's 20%, it's $60,000. And, you could always sell it again. Don't worry about it. Hopefully you've done your due diligence and you've bought the house that you really want. But even if it's a mistake, like you're afraid to make the commitment because you're afraid you're making the wrong mistake or you're making a mistake. Don't worry about that. The market's very forgiving, at least in Southern California it is. You can always buy another house. It's not like the last decision you're going to make in your life.